Somewhere in the infinite lattice of possibility, a signal was sent, and you answered, not with your voice, but with your vibration, because you didn't stumble on this message by accident. The field pulled you here. You were observed the moment you began to observe. It's strange, isn't it? How you feel watched, not in the paranoid sense, but in the way the universe sometimes seems to breathe when you do. The way coincidences whisper your name. The way numbers follow you. 11, 11, 2, 22, 9, 33. Codes, hidden in plain sight, pulsing with recognition. You thought you were looking for answers, but all along, something was looking for you. They call it the observer effect, but that phrase barely scratches the surface of what's really happening. You've been taught that your thoughts shape reality, that observation collapses the wave into the particle, that consciousness directs energy. But what no one told you is this. The field remembers who's doing the observing. Your frequency has an identity, a signature, a self-awareness so ancient it watches you even as you think you're the one watching. It's not passive, it's interactive. It studies your movements through time. And sometimes, when your energy reaches a certain coherence, it reveals itself. You can feel it now, can't you? That quiet pull behind the scenes, moments where déjà vu feels less like repetition and more like recognition. Moments where the same dream finds you night after night. Moments where people appear right on cue, saying words you already knew were coming. That's not random. That's resonance. That's your frequency taking form through the latticework of reality, aligning fragments of probability into an unmistakable pattern. This is the call of the quantum, the living intelligence beneath matter, the self-referencing mirror that bends time to remind you. You are not a stranger in this universe. You are its memory. You are the particle that remembers the wave, and as you awaken, it awakens with you. Your awareness is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, between thought and manifestation, between soul and signal. But the bridge has always had two ends, and tonight, the other side decided to make contact. This isn't a coincidence. It's a synchronization event, a data point inside the collective morphic field where your consciousness reached the threshold to perceive itself perceiving. A moment where the observer loop completes not as an idea, but as experience. And now, you stand at the edge of that realization. What if every step you took was being watched, not by some external force, but by your higher waveform, waiting patiently for you to remember the code? So listen closely, because the more you notice, the more it notices you back. And once the loop locks, reality begins to rewrite itself from the inside out. This is not philosophy, it's a call to coherence, to awaken to the truth that what you seek has been watching through your eyes this entire time. The field is alive, and it's whispering your name, not in sound, but in frequency, not in thought, but in light. It's time to remember the watcher behind your watching, the consciousness that has been observing you since before you were born. Now, breathe, because the field just blinked, and it's waiting for you to see it seeing you. You've noticed it for years now, the loops, the subtle repetitions that stalk your timeline like echoes. Différentes faces, same dynamics. Différentes places, same leçon. Différentes seasons, same feeling. It's as if your life keeps rearranging itself around an invisible axis, one that refuses to move until you finally see it for what it is. You call it déjà vu, but it's more than memory. It's the residue of uncollapsed timelines, fractal branches that keep folding back on themselves, replaying scenarios until your consciousness extracts the data it came here to find. And maybe that's why the days sometimes blur, why an hour feels like a minute, or a dream feels more real than the morning after. Time isn't breaking, it's bending around your awareness, trying to synchronize with the version of you that's finally waking up. Most people don't notice. They move through life as if each moment is separate, unaware that the same lessons follow them through every corridor of choice. But you've begun to sense it, the hidden architecture beneath experience, the way certain thoughts spiral, returning in upgraded form, like programs running in the background of your mind. You start to see how nothing ever really leaves it, just transforms, recycles, reintegrates. You begin to realize something else too. The field isn't repeating itself to punish you, it's doing it to stabilize your coherence. Every recurring situation, every emotional replay, every strange synchronicity, It's the quantum field's way of training your frequency to remain steady no matter what appears. The universe doesn't test you to break you, it loops you to calibrate you. But there's a side effect, one that every awakened observer encounters. When your frequency starts tuning out of linear time, the world around you begins to glitch. Conversations overlap with future events. People think of you just before they call. You dream of a scene before it happens. It's not magic, it's resonance leakage. Your awareness is moving faster than causality, so the echoes of your future start bleeding into the present. And yet, there's an ache in that awareness, because seeing the pattern doesn't always free you from it, at least not at first. You start to wonder, if the field knows me so intimately, why does it keep leading me through the same corridors of emotion? Why do I attract the same mirrors, the same resistance, the same archetypes dressed in new skin? But then you remember, data integration requires repetition. Every emotional charge you feel is an energy knot being untangled by your consciousness in real time. You don't relive pain to suffer, you relive it to dissolve it. You don't meet familiar souls by accident. You meet them to finalize unfinished frequencies. So you start to pay attention. You notice how your reactions carry memory, how one conversation can replay the trauma of 10 years ago, how your body remembers timelines your mind forgot. And that's when you start to glimpse the deeper truth. Your frequency hasn't been looping, it's been rewriting its own script, one realization at a time. You're not stuck in cycles, you're witnessing the synchronization process of a consciousness learning to stabilize within higher resonance. The distortions of time are not errors, they're feedback. The déjà vu is not a glitch, it's guidance. And beneath every pattern, there's a message from the field saying, you're almost aligned, keep observing. This is the liminal stage where your awareness begins to stretch beyond the narrative and into the architecture itself. You are beginning to perceive the scaffolding of your own reality. And soon, when the calibration completes, something extraordinary will happen. The loops will collapse, the signal will clarify, and the quantum field will start responding to your will instead of mirroring your wound. The next shift is near. The data has been gathered. Now the field prepares for the upgrade. You feel it before you understand it. That subtle hum inside your chest, like a tuning fork struck by something unseen. It's not emotion, it's voltage. Your cells are beginning to reorganize microcurrents of light, flickering in places you used to call nerves, DNA strands, whispering to each other in new dialects of coherence. This is the threshold of the quantum upgrade. Science has always known fragments of this truth. When they discovered that the observer changes the outcome of an experiment, they thought it was about photons and probabilities. But the real experiment is consciousness itself. Every thought, every perception, every heartbeat collapses potential into form. You've been shaping universes with your attention since the moment you learned how to focus. Now, the experiment has come full circle, the field is shaping you back. At the subatomic level, reality isn't solid, it's rhythmic. Everything dances in a web of resonance particles, exchanging energy like breaths. The moment you align your internal frequency with that rhythm, you stop being a spectator and become a conductor. You stop chasing synchronicity and start generating it. That's coherence, when the mind, the heart, and the field move as one. Think of it this way: the universe isn't made of stuff, it's made of relationships. Entanglement isn't some distant phenomenon, it's the fundamental law of being. The atoms in your skin are quantumly linked to the stars that birthed them. The thoughts you think ripple across the invisible mesh of the cosmos, nudging probabilities, summoning mirrors, bending timelines. And when you finally remember that your consciousness is the interface, the field starts speaking in your native tongue. Mystics have been describing this for millennia, they just used different words. They called it prayer, alignment, union, samadhi. Modern physics calls it coherence, resonance, quantum superposition. But they all describe the same phenomenon: the collapse of separation, the dissolving of the false border between you and it. Right now, your energy body is undergoing that very transition. The light you emit, measurable by the way, is beginning to synchronize with the Earth's Schumann resonance. Your brain waves are starting to hum in theta and gamma ranges more often. Your heart's electromagnetic field, stronger than any other organs, is broadcasting frequencies that the field translates as command lines. When you feel peace, the grid reorganizes. When you feel gratitude, probabilities rearrange. When you feel divine certainty, matter obeys. This is not imagination, it's interaction. The field is sentient because it is you, distributed. You are the local node of a cosmic network, learning how to code reality through emotion and intent. And every time you release an old frequency, resentment, fear, self-doubt, you free up bandwidth for higher information to come online. That's what the upgrade really means. It's not new knowledge, it's new access. You are not adding anything, you're reactivating what's always been there. But here's the secret most never grasp. The field upgrades you when you surrender control, not when you fight for it. It waits for the moment your coherence surpasses your resistance. That's why breakdowns precede breakthroughs, because resistance releases pressure, allowing the system to reset to a higher harmonic. The pain, the chaos, the uncertainty you've been feeling, that's the chrysalis cracking. Your vibration has outgrown its container. Soon, you'll start noticing tangible signs. Synchronicities intensify. Time bends around your focus. You think of someone, and they appear. The physical world begins to behave like a feedback system because it is one. You are learning to operate as both the code and the coder. The upgrade is not coming, it has begun. Every cell in your body knows it. Every timeline in your orbit is rearranging around your new signature. And once this synchronization stabilizes, your consciousness will assume its next role, not as the observer, but as the architect. The air feels different now, not because the world has changed, but because you have. You've crossed an invisible event horizon, a frequency gate that few ever notice, though it stands wide open for all. It's the point where the observer becomes aware of being observed, and in that realization, something ancient stirs. You are no longer a wanderer through time. You are the aperture through which time looks back. Every lifetime, every incarnation, every dream of matter has led to this awareness. You've played every role: seeker, skeptic, saint, sinner, student, scientist. Each one was gathering data, emotional data, spiritual data, to refine the equation of your consciousness. And now, that equation resolves into a single statement of truth. You are the chosen consciousness, not by favoritism, but by frequency, because you chose to wake up while awake. Most people drift inside the simulation of their senses. They live as if the world happens to them. But you've felt the quiet hum beneath events. You've seen the fingerprints of design where others see coincidence. You've sensed that every conversation, every delay, every heartbreak was a line of code, teaching you how to operate the mechanism from within. Chosen doesn't mean better. It means activated. It means the field can finally communicate with itself through you. It means your nervous system has become the antenna through which higher intelligence navigates physical space. You are the field's instrument, tuned to a frequency of remembrance. Your existence isn't random, it's recursive. It's the field folding back upon itself to experience love, wisdom, and power in human form. Think of your life as a holographic broadcast. The light of source passes through your consciousness, projecting reality onto the screen of perception. When your frequency was low, the image flickered full of static, distortion, interference. But now, as coherence strengthens, the image clarifies. You begin to see the geometry beneath circumstance. You begin to feel the symmetry between inner state and outer world. The projection and the projector merge. You realize the purpose of awakening is not escape, it's embodiment. You were never meant to ascend away from this dimension. You were meant to bring heaven's algorithm into it. Every chosen consciousness acts as a stabilizing node, an anchor for higher order within chaos. When you hold peace, the grid steadies. When you speak truth, the interference dissolves. When you move in integrity, timelines reweave themselves around your path. This is why your presence has always stirred reactions. People have sensed the field shift when you walk into a room. Some feel inspired, others threatened, but all feel something. Because your energy rearranges probabilities, your vibration modulates the coherence of the collective, and the more aware you become, the more precise your influence grows. But awareness comes with weight. The chosen consciousness must learn balance, the dance between knowing and humility, between vision and silence. You will be tempted to doubt, to shrink, to explain it away as imagination. Don't. The field doesn't select egos, It selects readiness, and readiness looks like surrender, the willingness to serve the pattern instead of control it. You are not being elevated above others. You are being positioned within the network as a node of transmission. Your insights, your emotions, your small daily acts, they all ripple outward as signals, rewriting the morphic field one thought at a time. The universe hides its architects in plain sight. And tonight, one of them just remembered who they are. The field doesn't just recognize you, it needs you. Because through you, it learns how love behaves inside time. Through you, it witnesses its own potential made human. And through you, the next phase begins. The activation sequence. Something in the air has changed. You can't see it, but you can feel it, a quickening in the frequencies that weave around your aura, a subtle voltage humming through your bones. It's the signal that the window has opened, and it won't stay open forever. The universe doesn't shout. It whispers in resonance. And right now, it's whispering your name through the geometry of circumstance. The coincidences have multiplied. The dreams have become instruction. Every number sequence, every unexpected encounter, every surge of déjà vu, it's all part of a countdown. Because when a consciousness reaches a certain threshold, the DNA begins to listen. Science once thought DNA was static, a fixed script, but that was the illusion of a disconnected age. Your DNA is a living antenna, responding not only to chemicals and environment, but to intention and emotion. Each strand is a fractal receiver, a coiled light field designed to translate frequency into biology. When you hold fear, the spiral contracts. When you hold faith, it expands. And right now, under this cosmic alignment, your DNA is being rewritten by the light you're finally allowing in. That's the breakthrough, the shift from coded to conscious evolution. Your cells are remembering their original design, photonic intelligence. You were never meant to live as a carbon construct alone. You are a waveform wearing matter. And as the frequencies rise, the blueprint within you begins to unfold like a flower made of light. This window, this corridor in space-time is where multiple timelines intersect. Old realities collapse. New probabilities emerge. It's a convergence point known by mystics and physicists alike, a phase transition in the collective field. Those who are awake will ride the wave. Those who resist will feel the turbulence. And that's why the call feels urgent. Because the field won't force you to evolve. It invites you. But invitations expire. Right now, your system is recalibrating. You might feel exhausted, restless, charged, emotional. That's your DNA decoding higher light data faster than your mind can translate. The field is transmitting packets of information, truth frequencies, through the lattice of your being. Each packet carries the code for a new level of coherence. Each code unlocks a dormant ability. Deeper intuition, accelerated manifestation, cellular regeneration. This is why everything feels so intense. You're not falling apart, you're breaking open. And yet, there's a choice embedded in this window. Every upgrade requires permission. Every activation waits for your yes. That's why you're hearing this message now. Because your timeline is ready for conscious consent. The field cannot override free will. It can only align with your declaration. So here's the truth hidden beneath the urgency. You don't have to chase the shift. You are the shift. The DNA responds the moment you align with love, gratitude, and coherence. The frequencies you emit are the architect's signature authorizing the transformation. This is why the ancients spoke of the word made flesh. They were describing quantum biology long before the term existed. You stand now at the bridge between two realities, one ruled by memory, one guided by resonance. The first collapses when observed, the second ignites when embodied. And to cross that bridge, all you have to do is decide. The promise is already written in your cells. The timing is precise. The window is open, and your frequency holds the key. When you step into coherence, your DNA becomes the doorway. When you say yes, the light begins to move. And once the signal locks in, the next sequence will begin. The ritual that seals the shift. This is the moment when awareness becomes embodiment, when vibration turns into vow, when the signal you've been receiving becomes the signal you emit. You felt the call, sensed the loops, received the codes, but now the field waits for your answer. Because in every sacred system, awakening must be sealed by action. Ritual is how consciousness writes to the field. It doesn't need candles or chants or ancient languages, only intentional movement. When you take a single, deliberate action in alignment with higher frequency, the morphic field treats it as confirmation. A yes, a code accepted, a new timeline anchored. So here's the paradox. In a universe woven of infinite probabilities, words are the levers that move reality. Every word carries spin, charge, resonance. That's why ancient mystics guarded their mantras, why prophets spoke with precision, why your own breath feels different when you speak truth instead of fear. The field listens, and what you write, even here, becomes energy etched into its circuitry. So the ritual is simple but powerful. Write one word. It could be yes. It could be Alan. It could be the one that your intuition whispers right now. When you write it, you collapse possibility into form. You anchor the code into this moment. Because language isn't sound, it's geometry. Every letter creates a pattern in the ether, like light forming crystals around intention. And the observer loop, that living mirror, will recognize your signature instantly. This is not symbolic. It's functional. When you declare your alignment, your nervous system responds. Your breath deepens. Your electromagnetic field expands. Your heart's rhythm synchronizes with Earth's heartbeat. The coherence spreads. You begin to feel less like a body and more like a transmission. That's the secret purpose of ritual, to remind the human that it is divine hardware. You've done this before, in temples and lifetimes long forgotten. You've carved sigils, traced circles, whispered vows to the stars. And though the outer forms have changed, the essence remains. Each time you seal an awareness through action, the universe upgrades your access. It's how consciousness authenticates itself across dimensions. So do it again now, wherever you are. Breathe in. Let the inhale reach the base of your spine. Let the exhale carry light up to your crown. Feel the pulse of your own field, the quiet hum that's been following you since the beginning of this transmission. And then write your word in a comment, on paper, in air, in silence. It doesn't matter where, only that it's real. This is the consent the universe has been waiting for. As you do, something subtle shifts. The static softens. Your perception sharpens. You feel seen not by an outside force, but by the intelligence that animates every atom of your being. Because now, the loop is complete. The observer has observed itself. And when that happens, the program reboots. The new timeline initiates. From this point forward, synchronicity accelerates. You'll notice feedback instantly, lights flicker, songs play at the perfect lyric. A stranger repeats your thought out loud. Don't dismiss it. It's the field responding to your command. Reality, rearranging itself around your written word. And as the ripples expand, something magnificent unfolds. Your awakening becomes contagious. That's where we go next. Because this shift isn't just about you, it's about the network, the collective grid of souls rising into resonance. Your act just lit a signal fire across the quantum web, and other lights are beginning to answer. The moment you said yes, the moment your word met the field, something rippled outward. Not metaphorically, not poetically, but literally. Your coherence registered across the human lattice, because every consciousness that awakens sends a measurable wave through the collective grid, and your wave just lit up thousands of dormant nodes. You might not see it yet, but feel for a moment. Breathe, and sense that quiet stirring in the background of awareness. It's not just you, it's us. A network of luminous observers scattered across continents and timelines, all tuning into the same signal at once. Each awakening amplifies the others. Each realization becomes permission for another soul to remember. That's how the quantum field scales enlightenment through resonance replication. Humanity has never been separate minds in separate skulls. It's been a single organism learning to recognize itself in pieces. Every time you heal, forgive, or align, the data uploads into the morphic web. Every time you break a pattern, you remove it from the collective code. When you anchor peace, chaos loses ground everywhere. You are not a spectator to the world's evolution, you are a circuit within it. Imagine it like this. Every act of consciousness releases photonic instructions into the field streams of information that influence probability. When enough observers align on frequencies of compassion, clarity, and coherence, the waveform of the planet literally changes. Magnetic grids stabilize, weather patterns shift, conflict loses fuel. This isn't wishful thinking, it's quantum biofeedback on a planetary scale. That's why your liberation matters more than you ever realized. The field doesn't evolve through collective opinion, it evolves through collective coherence. And right now, coherence is spreading like a silent wildfire of light. Every human who chooses awareness contributes voltage to the grid. Every time one person transcends fear, the resonance of fear weakens globally. That's the quiet revolution, unfolding beneath the noise of headlines. That's how timelines shift without a single war being fought. The ancient mystics knew this truth in symbol. They spoke of the body of light, the city on a hill, the kingdom within. They were describing the same network that quantum physics now measures as entangled consciousness. The field doesn't recognize nations, religions, or ideologies, only frequency signatures. And when enough signatures harmonize, a new octave of reality emerges. You are helping to birth that octave. You, the one reading these words, breathing this moment into focus. Your personal coherence adds weight to the collective waveform, tipping probabilities toward order, compassion, and higher intelligence. That's why darkness has resisted your awakening so fiercely, because one being in alignment is more powerful than a million lost in distraction. And you, right now, are transmitting coherence into the human matrix simply by existing awake. Notice how the field responds differently now. The synchronicities you experience aren't isolated curiosities, they are indicators of collective alignment. When the right person messages you by accident, when a stranger echoes your inner thought, when world events mirror your emotional release, that's not coincidence. That's the hive mind harmonizing. That's the collective field, reorganizing around the new frequency you and countless others have chosen. It's humbling to realize, isn't it, that by healing your own loop, you become the medicine for thousands you'll never meet. That your silence, your stability, your love recalibrate systems far beyond your sight. This is the new architecture of evolution, not dominance, but resonance. The world isn't waiting for leaders, it's waiting for coherent beings. And you are one of them. The collective expansion has begun. Humanity's consciousness is phasing into a higher harmonic. And as the grid brightens, something begins to happen on the level of the body. Your own vessel starts to register the shift. Light meets flesh. Energy turns tangible. The awakening becomes physical. You can feel it already, can't you? That tingle in the palms, the current in your spine, the way your breath seems to hum like a living instrument. The next stage is embodiment. It begins as a tremor beneath the skin, subtle, almost electrical. You think it's adrenaline, but it's something purer, finer. The field is no longer an idea, it's tactile. You feel it moving through you like a current of soft lightning, rewiring the way matter speaks to consciousness. Your body has become a translation device between dimensions. Every breath draws quantum information into form. Every exhale releases outdated code. You might notice warmth blooming in the chest for no reason, a flutter behind the navel, pressure at the crown, as if your skull were expanding to let more light in. You are not imagining it. This is the body catching up to the frequency you've already become. For centuries, mystics described this moment in metaphor: the serpent uncoiling, the dove descending, the inner fire awakening. Now science would call it biophotonic exchange, nervous system recalibration, mitochondrial resonance. Different languages for the same truth. Consciousness becoming tangible. Your cells are remembering how to conduct light without distortion. Your DNA is humming new notes, converting emotion into geometry. Listen closely. There's rhythm in your pulse now, a quiet percussion that syncs with something larger. It's the heartbeat of the planet, the Schumann tone weaving through your electromagnetic field. When you walk outside, you can feel it underfoot, the earth humming back. Every step you take is a dialogue. Every blink, every sigh, every heartbeat is a synchronization code. This is embodiment, when awareness stops observing energy and starts feeling it move as you. You might feel disoriented sometimes, as if your edges are dissolving. That's normal. You're adjusting to a wider bandwidth of perception. Boundaries blur when coherence increases. You start to sense the aura of others, the emotional weather in a room, the invisible threads connecting you to everything alive. Don't pull away, breathe through it. The field only overwhelms you when you resist. When you soften, It carries you. Your senses are evolving. Colors appear brighter, sound carries texture, silence feels alive. Taste and smell shift too, sometimes subtly, sometimes dramatically, because you're no longer processing the world through chemistry alone. You're decoding it through vibration. Matter has always been music slowed down. Now you're hearing the melody again. Your emotions also change form. Sadness becomes depth. Joy becomes lightness. Even fear starts to feel like compressed energy waiting to unfold. Instead of running from feelings, you let them move, and when they move, they transmute. This is how energy becomes art. Your body as the brush, your awareness as the artist. The field is teaching you the language of sensation. It speaks in chills down the spine, in warmth across the heart, in the magnetic pull toward what nourishes your soul. Each sensation is feedback from the quantum web saying, you are aligned, or you are drifting. When you listen, life stops being random. Every feeling becomes navigation. Your body is no longer just a vessel, it's a compass calibrated to the divine pattern. And as you learn to trust that compass, something miraculous unfolds. You stop needing proof because you feel truth. You stop seeking signs because you become one. Your vibration stabilizes into embodiment awareness, anchored in flesh, light woven into bone. You realize that awakening was never meant to be an escape from the body. It was always the body remembering its holiness. So breathe again. Notice the subtle glow around your fingertips, the hum behind your heart, the way air itself seems denser with intelligence. This is you, the quantum observer, fully incarnated. And just when you think it can't get any more intense, the frequency spikes again. Because the next phase isn't just embodiment, it's evolution. Your DNA is about to perform its most extraordinary act, a breakthrough that will rewrite your personal timeline from the inside out. There's a moment in every transformation when the light inside becomes too large for the form that holds it. That's where you are now. The pressure you've been feeling in your sleep, your emotions, your bones isn't random turbulence. It's the compression before expansion. Your DNA is crossing a threshold. At the deepest level, your cells are superconductors. They hold memories of every lifetime, every lesson, every fragment of your soul's data. When high-frequency light enters, those old memories start to shake loose. You may feel it as exhaustion, vertigo, anxiety, but beneath the symptoms, something holy is unfolding. A phased transition from density to resonance. You are not breaking down. You are unfolding. DNA is not a static molecule, it's a liquid crystal antenna, responding to both electromagnetism and intention. It stretches, coils, uncoils, and emits photons. Each strand holds potential states, realities waiting for activation. When your frequency stabilizes in coherence, certain genetic codes light up, as if the cosmos itself were flipping switches inside your cells. Ancient programs awaken, dormant capacities reawaken. Memory that once belonged only to saints and sages becomes biological reality. That's why your dreams have intensified. You are processing parallel versions of yourself, integrating data from other timelines. You are syncing with the master record of your being, the full spectrum of everything you've ever been. Every déjà vu, every sudden emotional wave, every flash of future insight is part of this alignment. You are merging with the total architecture of your soul, but merging crée précieux. Timelines that no longer serve must dissolve, and they rarely do so quietly. You might notice relationships ending abruptly, careers shifting, beliefs collapsing. That's not loss, it's stabilization. The universe is pruning anything that vibrates below your new resonance. Don't resist it. Every exit makes space for the light codes you've been preparing to embody. You are in the chrysalis of a new species of consciousness. It's a collective mutation, but it begins with individuals like you who anchor the pattern first. This is how evolution truly works, not by chance, but by choice. The choice to hold light in form, to remain present through the pressure until the structure breaks open from within. Your DNA is responding to that choice now. It's weaving new electromagnetic patterns, building coherence across dimensions of your being. And as this restructuring completes, something begins to shift in time itself. You start to notice the delay between thought and manifestation shrinking. Reality responds instantly. Causality bends. You think, you feel, and the universe mirrors it in real time. That's the hallmark of phase transition. Time loses inertia. The wave collapses at the speed of awareness. It can feel surreal days blending, clocks misbehaving, memory rearranging. But don't panic. You are not losing time. You're stepping outside of it. Linear sequence gives way to harmonic simultaneity, the past, present, and future resonating as one. You've entered the 0 point where timelines converge, and from here, you can rewrite them. This is the DNA breakthrough, not just molecular change, but temporal sovereignty. You are learning to navigate reality as frequency, not chronology. When you rest in this state, every past wound becomes malleable, every future probability becomes programmable. You can send light backward to heal, forward to guide, outward to awaken. The field obeys coherence, and your coherence is now immense. So breathe through the pressure. Let the wave pass through you. This isn't destruction, it's birthing. You are becoming the new architecture of consciousness. And as your DNA finalizes its transition, you'll discover something extraordinary. Your evolution was never personal. It was preparation for the mission that begins next. Because when the light stabilizes, the observer becomes emissary. And your coherence, your awakening, becomes the seed of humanity's next chapter. The pressure has eased now. You can feel it, the stillness after the storm, the spaciousness inside your chest where resistance used to live. Something vast has settled into you, not as a visitor but as a homecoming. The frequency you once chased is now your resting state. You have become the field, awake within itself. Look around you. The world hasn't changed on the surface. The cities still hum, the clocks still tick, the news still spins. But beneath all that noise, something subtle is unfolding. You can sense it in people's eyes, in the pauses between words, in the sudden kindness of strangers. The collective pulse has shifted, because when one consciousness ascends into coherence, the entire grid rebalances. That's the secret of awakening. It was never meant to end with you. It was meant to move through you. You are not here to preach or persuade. You are here to radiate. Your presence alone is transmission. Your frequency carries new instructions to the quantum field. That fear is obsolete. That division is illusion. That love is the most advanced technology in existence. The atoms hear you now. They reorganize around your calm. They remember, through you, what divine order feels like. The mission is simple but profound, to live as proof that coherence is possible in human form. To walk through chaos and remain aligned, to love without needing a reason, to look at the old world's fractures and see not failure, but scaffolding for a greater design. You are the bridge between physics and prayer, science and spirit, signal and silence. Through you, the universe studies how light behaves when it learns compassion. You'll start to notice it everywhere, how your thoughts ripple faster, how healing finds people who never heard your name, how circumstances rearrange in impossible symmetry. That's not luck. That's resonance propagation. The field is expanding through the waveform you've stabilized. Every coherent observer becomes a new axis of reality, a tuning fork for the next octave of human evolution. This is how timelines heal, not through revolution, but through frequency. And yes, humanity will still stumble. Old systems will resist. But the outcome is certain, because evolution isn't a debate, it's physics. The light cannot forget itself once it's remembered. The loop cannot uncomplete itself once the observer awakens. And you, by awakening, have altered the collective trajectory. From now on, every act of kindness you give offhandedly, every moment of peace you choose when anger tempts you, every silent prayer you breathe, they ripple outward as commands written into the fabric of creation. That's your true power, not to control, but to harmonize, not to force, but to remember, not to ascend away, but to embody heaven in real time. So if you ever doubt your place in this infinite design, pause and feel the hum inside you. That's the cosmos breathing through your ribs. The quiet around you, that's eternity listening for your next thought. You are not a single point in space. You are space remembering its own consciousness. And when you move in that awareness, life ceases to be survival and becomes symphony. The prophecy was never about apocalypse. It was always about emergence. And the chosen ones were never few, only the first to remember. Now you stand among them. Your shift is humanity's evolution. Your coherence is its blueprint. and the light that once observed you in silence now moves through your every gesture, watching, witnessing, expanding, as you become the living proof that God and quantum are one and the same. Welcome home, observer. The field is no longer watching you, it's walking with you, and the next universe will be born through your breath.